Hello everyone, my name is Lucas and I live in the city of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Since I was a child, I've always been fascinated by ghost stories. I still remember the tales told to me by a woman named Melissa. She was our neighbor and a close friend of my grandmother. One of her stories marked me from the very first time I heard it. She said it all happened in 1957. When she lived in the countryside of São Paulo. At the time, Melissa was a 19-year-old girl when her father arranged her marriage, as was common among rural families back then. The man chosen to be her husband was Jonas, the son of a neighboring landowner, a tall man with a calm voice, broad shoulders, and the strength of someone who had worked the fields and cattle since boyhood. He was serious, handsome, with piercing green eyes, yet always polite and attentive, the kind of man any father would trust with his daughter. After the wedding, they were given a piece of land by his family. The property lay far from their parents' homes or any other neighbors. The soil was fertile, the land had plenty of water, and on it stood a large old house. They received chickens, pigs, and a few heads of cattle, as well as a small coffee field that brought good money during harvest season. From here, I'll tell the story as if Melissa herself were speaking. My life seemed blessed. My husband was kind, gentle, and never raised his hand or his voice at me, something rare for those times. Our days were filled with hard labor in the cornfields, but it was honest and rewarding work. For a while, peace reigned, yet there was something I could never ignore. On certain nights, most often when the moon was full, Jonas would leave the house, saying he was going hunting with his father. He vanished into the forest and only returned at dawn, sometimes with game, sometimes with nothing at all. Those nights left me alone in the old house where every creak, every distant sound kept me awake with pounding heart. Sleep never came easy when Jonas was away. I still remember a dream that haunted me, a dream that felt more real than life itself. It was a night of full moon, and I was alone inside the house. The wooden walls groaned, as if something heavy and monstrous was circling outside. Suddenly, a beast began to push against the door with such strength that the whole house trembled. I tried to hold the lock with every bit of courage I had left, but it was like trying to stop a flood with bare hands. The sounds were terrifying: deep breathing, muffled growls, claws scraping against the wood. Then, in a single violent blow, the door burst open and the creature stepped inside. Its eyes glowed with a ghostly yellow light, and the stench it carried was that of wet dog mixed with rotting flesh. I had no time to run. I felt its claws grab my arm and drag me outside, my legs scraping against the hard ground. I remember screaming, but my voice seemed swallowed by the night. The full moon lit the dirt road as I was pulled without mercy toward the dark forest, as if I was being delivered straight into hell. When I woke up, my body was drenched in sweat, my heart racing, unsure if I had truly escaped or if I was still trapped inside that nightmare. The silence of the night mocked me, and no matter how much I tried to convince myself it was just a dream, the feeling of the beast's touch still lingered on my skin. The next day, I told Jonas everything, every detail, hoping he would understand the weight of what I had seen, but he only laughed, waved his hand, and said it was nothing but nonsense. From a restless sleep, his indifference hurt me more than the nightmare itself, because deep down, I knew this wasn't just any dream. It felt like a warning, a dark omen of what was yet to come. And Jonas's disbelief only made that shadow grow heavier. Melissa paused before recounting the night that shattered her peace forever. The full moon lit the coffee fields as if it were broad daylight, but instead of comfort, it carried an eerie glow that weighed heavy on the chest. That night was unbearably hot, so I left the bedroom window open to let the breeze in. A candle flickered in the room, and exhaustion soon pulled me into a deep sleep. Hours later, I woke with a start. A violent thud had struck the window. A strong wind had blown out the candle, leaving only moonlight streaming inside. Outside, the cattle bellowed in distress, and the small dog I'd recently been given barked frantically. Then I heard it, a howl unlike anything human or animal rising from the coffee field, a sound demonic, sinister, that froze my blood. Terrified, I slammed the window shut, locked the bedroom door, and trembled in silence on the bed. The minutes crawled by until heavy footsteps circled the house. Whoever or whatever was outside moved slowly, step by step, stopping, then starting again. My heart nearly tore out of my chest. Suddenly, the doorknob of the living room rattled, followed by pounding. At first weak, then stronger, so strong it shook the house. But the door was made of solid wood and held firm. The blows echoed through doors and windows, as though the intruder was determined to force its way in. After what felt like forever, the steps grew distant, moving toward the gate. Summoning courage I didn't know I had, I crept to the living room and pressed my face against a crack in the window. There, under the pale light of the full moon, I saw it. A monster, its body covered in fur, ears pointed like horns, its snout longer than any dog's. The beast stood still, scanning the yard, then raised its head to admire the moon as if spellbound. I had no doubt it was a werewolf. For a moment, I could swear it laughed, a wicked, mocking laugh. Then it turned its gaze directly to the window where I hid. Its glowing eyes pierced through me like red-hot iron. I fled to my room, curled on the bed, and cried silently. But the creature returned, striking the doors and windows with greater fury than before. The geese shrieked in terror, and the beast's snarls carried rage beyond reason. Still, no matter its strength, the door held. At last, after what felt like an eternity, the monster ran off toward the coffee field, leaving behind a stench of rot. When Jonas returned at dawn, his boots muddy and his face sweaty, I told him everything. He listened in silence, eyes narrowed, his expression unreadable. After checking the yard, he found nothing broken, no animals harmed. He said I must have been dreaming, that the heat and exhaustion had clouded my mind. I insisted, but he laughed, dismissing it as nothing more than country folklore. The nights when Jonas continued to leave, I still heard footsteps circling the yard, though the beast no longer tried to break in. Then one day, Jonas left for another hunt and never returned. Search parties combed the forests, but he had vanished without a trace. Some said he ran away with a lover, others claimed he'd gone mad and wandered off. Yet many believed those lands were cursed, haunted by a beast from hell itself. That was all the proof I needed. I knew I hadn't been delusional, as Jonas wanted me to believe. The question that still haunts me is this: if there truly was a monster in those fields, did it devour Jonas? Or was Jonas himself the very beast I saw that night? These are questions I will never have the answers to.